get up. Good morning. How's everyone doing? What a welcome after a couple days off. Hope everybody was enjoying all of the soccer, all of the Wimbledon. You and I color coordinated here today.
Great minds think alike.
Vinny Goodwill, Jason McCourty, Courtney Carden, Brooke Pryor. We've got Brian Windhorst here as well. So much soccer to get into on the way, but we start with our lead story. And stop me, guys, if you have heard this before. We are waiting on yet another LeBron James decision. The basketball world waits with bated breath to learn where he will play in year 24, and Philly remains a pretty intriguing destination. Sixers president Bob Myers was asked about what his pitch to LeBron would be. Here is what he said.
If he was here, I'd say, I honestly believe this is your best chance to win. You have to decide all the other things that are equally important. What I would just say is, if it's about winning, and that, let's talk about this team. You can win here in Philadelphia.
Okay, so that is about as direct of a pitch, guys, as you are going to get. Bob Myers, who runs the Philadelphia 76ers organization, Vinny, giving that pitch to Max Kellerman, Rich Paul, LeBron's agent. So what do you hear, Windy, when you hear Bob Myers, his words, the recruiting style? What is that telling you about Philly's process in trying to get LeBron?
Well, it's more about the entire LeBron process than anything, because this is how the 76ers are getting to talk to LeBron. That was on Rich Paul and Max Kellerman's podcast, but it was essentially a meeting with LeBron James. That's how you talk to LeBron in 2026. In 2010, he had 3 days of meetings where everybody came to an office building in Cleveland in $10,000 suits, and Jay-Z came to pitch him. In 2014, Dan Gilbert his jet was being tracked as he tried for a clandestine meeting in South Florida. In 2018, Magic Johnson stood on his driveway until free agency opened and then walked into his house in Los Angeles to make the pitch. Now you come on a podcast, and this is where we go as LeBron plays golf and works on his short game. So this is a demonstration of how the game has changed and how long the LeBron career and free agency processes have been.
Yeah, I'm amazed that he's still at the epicenter of free agency all these years later. You just referenced the decision, which was all these years ago, the anniversary being yesterday, July 8th. Are you amazed when you think about this process that he's still at the epicenter of free agency and dictating his own terms?
Yeah, and I think it's for a completely different reason. You know, 16 years ago, the New York Knicks spent 2 seasons getting themselves into a position where they could pitch LeBron James. He dismissed their pitch in a matter of minutes. And then now, because he's willing to play for essentially next to the league minimum, any team has the option to go get him. So it's a completely different situation. Back then, there were just really a couple of teams he was considering. Now he could consider 10 teams, as Rich Paul outlined on another recent podcast interview. I don't think he's actually considering 10 teams, but the idea is that if somebody could get a player like LeBron's caliber for next to nothing in NBA dollars. And so while it is a repeating of LeBron being pitched, in some ways it's extraordinarily different and very unique.
Yeah, Vince, I want to bring you in here. When you hear Bob Myers in the words, the process that he's trying to use here, what stands out the most?
Just the fact that we're doing this on reality TV. Like, this is the most reality TV. This is the most 2026 thing of all time. The fact that we're not having clandestine meetings in high rises in Cleveland or Miami or LA or wherever. You're having on a podcast with Rich Paul and Max Kellerman. Like, that is where we are in terms of the basketball culture. But when I hear Bob Myers talk, it's almost like he knows that he doesn't have the best hand here. He doesn't know who has the best hand, but he knows that he doesn't have the best hand. And the most important thing is this. We all have to be honest, and Wendy is like the prince of pessimism when it comes to these things. We don't know what LeBron wants. Like, normally it's a max contract and then another max slot to bring one of LeBron's teammates along. But right now, LeBron is at the stage of his career and his life where money is not the most important thing. We don't know what matters most to him at this stage. If it's winning, if it's comfort, whatever it is, and we're going to find out what that is based off of his decision. And the most important thing Wendy said is, you're talking about a veteran minimum player, so to speak, who can command a lot more. Are you going to ask him to do max salary contract things on a minimum deal?
Yeah, it's a good point. Wendy, let's drill down here on Philly. What makes that the most attractive destination for him and the most attractive selling point from Bob Myers?
I'm not going to make that case because I don't necessarily know if it is the most attractive, because you're making a basketball case, and what LeBron has said is it's a happiness case. Can he be happy living in Philly? But I will say a big factor here is Tyrese Maxey. I know that so much of the focus is on Jaylen Brown because that's how Philly got into this conversation. They traded for Jaylen Brown last week. But the reason I think he's seriously looking at Philadelphia is because of Tyrese Maxey, and that connection is with Clutch Sports, his agency that he is, basically a founder of alongside Rich Paul. It's the Tyrese Maxey connection that draws him in. It's that was the same thing with Anthony Davis that got Anthony Davis to the Lakers, and the reason that LeBron would have interest in playing with Anthony Davis if he were traded to the Golden State Warriors in the coming days. And this is not just a Clutch Sports thing. All of the top-level agencies will have their clients work together. But this is a Tyrese Maxey thing. You would really want Tyrese Maxey sitting next to Bob Myers making the pitch, and I'm sure he has.
Yeah, and that's the interesting part here, because I think once the Jaylen Brown trade happened, we all thought that might have been the biggest selling point, but we can start connecting some dots here via agency and seeing what might be the best fit for LeBron James. Maybe it's in Philly. Maybe he will help them win their first world championship since 1983. Okay, more on this in a bit.
Ball, you get in the mix, but box ball.
What's fun?
Yeah, when you have the 4 boxes and you like each person in a box and you kind of have to slap at the ball, like almost like you're dribbling in basketball to get it away from people.
We called that Foursquare.
Yeah,
That's Foursquare.
Oh, well, you guys are much younger than we are.
That's a great game, though. That's an excellent selection.
Yeah, well, that was it. At Evco Radio, if you want to chime in on this, EVCO Radio, at Chris Canty 99, at On Sports ESPN, favorite recess game, because that's what we have today, our favorite recess games, without Smallsy here. CC, we heard there in the intro some of the sights and sounds around the conversation around LeBron James, and yesterday was the anniversary, 16 years of the decision, and he didn't make a second one yesterday at least. Before we dive into the sound, as we just sit here, it is July 9th, 2026. LeBron James is not, by basketball years, young, and yet the sports world is still waiting for his decision 20 plus years into his phenomenal NBA career. LeBron, in your mind, has an announced decision / hasn't made a decision because of?
I think he's clearly deliberating between all of his options. And here's the thing, Ev, if we're going to talk about LeBron James prioritizing chasing after championships, LeBron James potentially trying to enhance his legacy to close the gap between him and MJ, one of the things we have to consider is the opportunity that would vault him beyond where he currently is already perched, which is the second greatest player to ever lace him up. And of course, the full circle story of the Cavs is compelling, but one of the things that I find interesting, Ed, is that LeBron James, he's been known to be, I guess, somewhat nomadic in terms of his NBA career, and he's looking at the landscape. What would be defining for the LeBron James era of the NBA is if LeBron James played for a team that he hasn't already donned a jersey for and competed and won a title. To me, that would be fascinating. Nobody has won titles with 4 different teams. There are only 4 players in NBA history that have won titles with 3 different teams, right? Like, and one of them was LeBron's former teammate Danny Green, like Robert Horry and John Salley. Those are the 4. So if LeBron James found a team that presented an opportunity for him to contend for a title that he hasn't already played for, and he has a legit shot to be able to get to the championship rounds, I think that's the part that gives LeBron and his camp a little